Okay, so after the last video, I said that I would look into the jurisdiction and the location number for you. I started with jurisdiction. If you remember earlier, I was a little bit more excited about that one. It gave us something, I don't know, I felt like it, with the top four being very distinct, I wanted to investigate them. And this is with the detail cause all. So let's look at the detail cause with the outliers removed. I already did the analysis for you. I should have had the table. Here we go. Did it change at all? Well, Nevada was 4 before. Now it's number 1 with the outliers removed. And then it was 2, 3, 4. Everything stayed in the same order. So now I had said before, Delaware kind of creeped up here. Maybe something. But when you look at these amounts and these numbers, yeah, maybe Delaware could take a look. I didn't do it yet. I did the other things first. But I'm going to show you what some of the results were. So originally the number 1 was Colorado. I think it had the most in it. Nevada didn't actually have any outliers. So that is why I think it rose up to the top. So it's got the frequency. But okay, so let's look at Nevada first, shall we? So Nevada all. This is what I found. That the count is going down, the total paid is going down. If I go to Nevada, with the Nevada all and outliers removed, it's the same thing because there's no outliers. So if I go to it, I didn't even graph it because it was the same as before. It's going down. So then I looked at what was the number 1 cause in Nevada, and that was resident handling. And if I zoom in here a little bit, so I didn't really clean it up much. It's going down to 0, and this is going down to just a few. So it's not it's not a good thing to be focusing on. Its number 1 cause is kind of going away. Now maybe I could look at the second most. Let's look down here and see if there's anything here. Slip, trip, and fall. There are 20 of them. Total of 28,000. Might be interesting. There might be something there, but slip, trip, and fall and resident handling seem to be our primary, and then maybe manual material handling or combative seems to be our top things. So having done all the class code stuff, I didn't see a need to go much further. I can show you what I got for Colorado. This is with the outliers removed. We'll zoom it in so you can kind of see it a little bit more. So we do have some things going up here. So let's see what happens. So for Colorado, I looked at slip, trip, and fall and resident handling. So resident handling, this is the first one. It does appear that the count is going up. Total paid is going up. R square aren't horrible. They're not great, but they're not horrible. So what I did with this one is I went with the projected 70. I just felt, do we have 70s? Yeah. I felt that the 26,000 per year was just too low, based on what we're seeing here. And this is with outliers removed too. So I felt comfortable with putting in a 70. Why? Why did you do that? Well, with the outliers included, it goes up to 400,000. We're under a quarter of that. With the outliers in, the annual average is 125. Again, we're below that. If you look at the total paids with the outliers removed, again, almost 300,000 worth, we have a 44,000 to 33,000. So I felt that out of the 4 of these, that would be an acceptable. Again, when it gets above 0.5, I'm a little bit happier. This is a 0.49. Now, 2019, it's really, really low. Is that because 2019 had outliers? Well, what I should have done in here is put in the trends. They're both going up, right? Let's see. Colorado. Colorado all. Colorado resident handling. It is going up there too. So it's each traveling up. So that's... Again, between those two, and I should have written it below there, but I didn't do it. I did it for my class code things. Sorry, I'm going to be doing this a lot. My sinuses are really running today. But I'm feeling better. That's where I bumped up to that 70,000 versus the lowest. For Colorado, for the Sorry. Slip, trip, and fall. The total paid is staying pretty consistent, but oh, that's so ugly. Look at that. Don't like that at all. That tends to be going up. I went with 5,000 because if you were to look at with the outliers in, it goes to 0. This seems to be sort of the minimum, 5,000. I mean, can we assume there's going to be nothing in the future? Probably not, but it's probably not going to be that much. And so I settled on a 5,000. It's sort of a meager ask. It would be a low priority had we gone this direction, but that's where it end. And this was the second highest priority. We're already kind of out of what we want to have. Let's look at, we've got Louisiana and Oklahoma we haven't looked at yet. Louisiana's number 1 of slip, trip, fall. You can see here it's going down for that. It's going up for that. I went with it gets above 0.5, so I went with 22,000. Does include 300,000, so I feel pretty good about that number there. It's the lowest of all, so yeah, sure, I could have gone there, but I decided, it's not a bad number. This is very conservative. This would kind of make up for the $5,000, $4,000 one. You kind of find a balance there. With Oklahoma, resident handling was the number 1 cause. And as you can see here, it goes 0 and 0. I feel kind of bad putting in an 18,000, but 18,000 is less than 2 of the years. And the average, if we were to use with the outliers included, would be 62. So as long as we're always below that, as long as we don't have a really good, trend line that's going up with a good R-square, I feel pretty good with going with something like that. So it's an okay ask. And we also do know that the resident handling, that's keeps coming up as number 1. And so we're just finding ways to justify the investment for that. One interesting thing I found in addition to this is when I began looking at the location. Location 1100 was our number 1. I was able to scroll and look at it and see it's all in Colorado. So I didn't like this particular variable, because the Pareto was was ugly, But what I decided is that, Colorado already covers it. So why mess with this weird location? So then I did the location 500, which was number 2. And if you go down and take a look on what states are covered, it's primarily Oklahoma, so the jurisdiction is actually a better variable to break things down than the location number, and you can find location numbers within the jurisdiction. So that's why we didn't use location numbers. So if you need a justification, 1, the Pareto was ugly, and there's so many here. We would have had to have looked through the top 7, and you saw how long it took just to look through the top 2 class codes. It took me longer than that to do 4 jurisdictions. So just to save time, we're just trying to pick the low-hanging fruit, okay? So why do we do this? We're picking the low-hanging fruit. We're trying to get a nice Pareto representation. Class code seem to provide us with that low-hanging fruit direction. That's why I did it. And I did color coding just to make it a little bit easier, especially for next week. So let's go ahead and take a look at our class codes. So for this week, for the assignment, I'm just going to quickly show you. I just updated this. Presentation is important. Make sure your tables have clear titles. Make sure the axes are labeled. Make sure everything is very clear, so I can just look at I can either look at a table or I can look at a figure and I know what you're doing. So it should be explained there. The numbers are probably going to change. I know that. Just make sure you have space for a number. Put something in there, holding up, whether it's a weekly, hold or whatever you want. And so there's going to be a minimum of 6 priority sets. Class code and cause. So we have 9040 and 8833, and we have 3 causes per. That's all. That's the minimum you need to do, and present them. Okay. And ideally, you'd be creating a presentation of like a results section, because that's what this is where this would go. You can do it now, or you can do it later. Do it now, you don't have to do it later. And then present the final table, which has just those three things, which is your estimated 2023 loss, the ROI entry, which is pretty straightforward, and then the conservative requested investment, along with the justification of why it's conservative, why you set it at that. That's where a lot of you are like, oh, I'm really confused how to do it. I kind of talked about it just now. I'll talk about it again. So this is a review again. This is what I expect to see. The thing is, stop cutting off your tables and figures. Don't just throw it in there. Oh, it doesn't fit. I'm just going to leave it. It should fit the page now. It should be clear at this point. So take the time. No quizzes this week. No binder assignment. It's just this. It's a lot of repetition. I did most of the repetition for you by saying you just have to do the class code and cause that were specified. All right. So let's practice it a little bit, okay? So here's what I would do if it were me, and I would go ahead and do a results section here. Now, I would start with number one subset, and that would be, of course, I don't want to do it like that. I would do my descriptive statistics and have the tables, and then I would have my, after that, we did the distribution and outlier assessment. Three would be, that's the trend over fiscal year. Okay, I hope you guys are seeing this. And then last week we did some stuff. Oh. And that would be class code and cause separately. And then this week we are trending and forecasting 2023 losses by priority sets. Code plus cause. Okay? This is what the results section should look like. This is what we've done so far. So you would be presenting the table and figure or both and explaining what the key result is. And that should come from the comments that you've used. And if you aren't sure, talk to me and we'll work through it. You know, because I'm assuming that you guys are getting it, because I'm providing you the steps and the results. So that's what you're doing. You're learning Excel by doing that. But at the same time, you should be building off of what we've learned so far in the class, getting up to this point. And 6 will be recommendations. Final study results and recommendations for safety program improvement. I just gave you the 6 sections for your results. So we're doing the trending and forecasting. So what's the first step? So, you know, previous assessment step, class codes 9040, and I hate doing this because now you guys will copy it. Represented, and then, you know, you'd give all the stuff, you know, as determined by a Pareto assessment. And what does that mean? Let me go back to, I've got all kinds of tables open. So originally, yeah, I can go to my detail cause hall, that's fine. So I'm doing all this, but of course there'd be something here, and I would include that as well. I might as well right now. I don't like how big it is though, so I'm gonna reduce it down. This is horrible. Don't do what I'm doing right now, okay? Do not do what I'm doing right now. Do conceptually what I'm doing right now. That looks horrible. So all this should fit. RPN, not something great to include. Still, it's looking a little bit better here. That's a little bit better. So make sure you guys are doing this. Let's see. Okay, this does not have to be that big. But that does. Can I get rid of? It's a little bit better. All right, so that has to be a little bit bigger. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to make it so it fits. Now I could have done this and I should have done this in Excel. It's better, not great. Just trying to get so everything. We want to make sure that all the alignments are correct. So if I highlight all this and I go to table properties, I can make sure that for cell everything is centered. There, that's a little bit better. Font's all the same. This isn't great. Yeah, this needs to be improved. But what I'm trying to get, this is a mess. Oh, so bad. So bad. I don't like the way this looks at all. Hate to be doing this live on TV here, but all right. So what I'm showing is we're going to go after the top two because, again, that didn't get it for some weird reason. Ugh. This is the reason why, based on the assessment step, represented these things here as determined by the Pareto assessment, which was right here. So then the next step is to assessing the top cause for each class code, both with and without outliers. And then determined that 904, the list should be, trended and forecasted to estimate 2023 losses. So the first one would be, I'm going to do the 903. I got to get to it first. 904 was our number one priority. Our number one cause was resident handling. So what I can do here, I think it's kind of cool to see, you know, all these lined up. This didn't work out real well. So all we really need is copy. Again, this needs to be prettier. Oh, it cut off. In which case, okay, yeah, I'm doing this right here. So really what I should be doing is start a new page. And that's plenty big. You know, just kind of want to be able to see it. I can see what the slope is. It'd be nice if I could put this one here and one here right next to each other. So that was resident handling with the outliers removed. Resident handling with outliers removed. I think I grabbed the wrong one. Yeah, I did. I made this the same size. Can I move it up here? It's not letting me. It's not letting me. But I do. Control Z. Okay, I don't know if it's what it thinks it is. It thinks it's a picture. It should be a separate picture. Really thought that it was going to let me move it. It's not letting me move it though. Might be that this needs to be shrunk down a little bit. Ah, look at that. How nice. Thank you. Word for cooperating with me for the first time ever. So, this is the result. So, the claims looks like it's going to be about 45. Resident, the total paid seems to be going down to about 15,000. Now what I want to do is share the final results table, which I've got right here. There needs to be more information here, and I think it's good to include that. I'm thinking about adding another column or another row here for the total claims. Wait a minute. So this is the number of claims per year. The total claims involved. I'm thinking that might be something I add. I don't know. Right now, again, I had to do so much work to try to get to where we are now that I'm just kind of tired. See if this did anything. That looks horrible. So let's highlight it. Go into table design. It's a little bit better, right? We have to give this trend and this looks horrible. Don't do what I just did. But what have I reported here? So this is what the outliers removed. This is going up. This is going down. Ultimately, this is what we want to share. Man, these look really, really bad. So make sure you spend some time making these look a little bit better. E. Oh, I hate when it does that. I wish it would just leave the other one the same size. There's probably a distribute columns evenly to button that I'm not hitting. All right, let's make sure that all these and that. No, that's not what I wanted. Table properties, center. And there also should be, yeah, okay. Looks a little bit better. We're reporting the results. Now, ultimately, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to recommend. it's trending up with the outliers in, and that goes up to 190. It's trending down to 15, the annual average. I'm estimating I'm probably going to be using this. Is that what I ended up going with? What's the reason why? There's 127 missing. It could go up to 190 per year. You know, I always try to go for like a quarter less than if we were to use what the outliers included. Did I use the 48 or did I use the 15? Because it seems to be trending down, but again, outliers, right? What did I go with on this one? I'm curious. I went with 48,000. Yeah, it seems justified to me. Now, why wouldn't you put in 48,075? Because it's a crazy number, and these are all estimates, wild estimates. So I put in 48. I think it's justified. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing this week. We're already at 25 minutes. So, this is only going to be on the first page or whatever, because now all I have to do is I can go to the next one, and I'm going to do, what I should probably do here is, I didn't mean to do that. So, class code 9040 plus cause resident patient handling. Now, the more I look at this, yeah, I want to see where you came up with some of your estimations and why. And now you're going to explain it, I believe. Oh, it cut off. So we don't want that. Yeah, we can get into some explanation. We can put this in the middle because this is much more important than these. These are just a demonstration. See, we've got it's going up 5.5. You know, there's things that can be discussed by providing this. Maybe what we should do is do the with and without. That might be a more interesting way to do it, in which case now there'd be double the number of figures. But it's a more complete way of doing it. Go back to here. All I have to do is go to my 9040 over here. Oh, it's right here. And I've got these. See, I didn't spend time to make them look pretty because I've been working so hard to try to figure out the best way to present this to you all. And what I was saying before is I should be able to just click on here and see that what you're comparing here, or what you're presenting here, is the 9040 resident handling claims for fiscal year, and this shows the outliers are removed, N95. This would say, this would be N85, and then the same thing. So all these titles should show what's going on, and you could have one number A, B, C, D if you wanted. I'm fine with that. Shows that they're all connected. You got to figure out the numbering system that works best for you, just so I can understand it. And let's see what happens here. There we go. Just gotta bring that down to right there. So, what are we presenting now? We're presenting the trend of 9040 resident handling claims. So we can see that the count is going up. The total paid is going up when the outliers are included. When they're removed, it's going down. And then we have what the tables had in them. The open claims, the $0 claims, what the outliers are removed, what that represented, and what the forecasted losses are. I think, we entered that too. I think what's interesting is it helps justify. Now, should we say 15,000? Well, I mean, it's... With all this data up here, should we really choose that point? Is that really representative of what's going on? No, I think the 48,000 does. It's something that we need to get a handle on, because again, the claims are going up with the outliers included. It's going up. It's going down if you remove the outliers, so there is some influence there. But you can see the change from here to here the two outliers made. Something that a computer program wouldn't. attempt to understand. And with here, it's going up 33 per year. Well, what's the R square is above 0.5, which is nice. So yeah, again, I think that's the justification. So you kind of just talk about it. Talk about why, what it means, what we find here. So that was one of six that you're going to be demonstrating for this week. And then the final results. Okay, I'm sorry. This is part 2 here. Hope this is helping. Part 2, you're going to present the combined tables. This is already going way too long. And that is this little thing here. I gotta find the right one though. And then you gotta explain what it means, what we're trying to do here. You know what? Don't do them separate. Put it together. How does that sound? That might be a better way to do it now that I'm looking at it. Needs to be a better looking table, but I think, yeah, let's keep it together. Keep all the stuff together. Don't do them separate. So I'm going to maybe change that up now. Now that I'm looking at it, I do think that, okay, I don't have a title that goes across. What do I want it to look like? I just want the left column, really. I don't need the top to be different. Not great. Not great. Maybe I could turn that cell into something that looks better. No, where's my cell fill? There it is. A light yellow. Nope. How about anything? It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Okay, there. Not a great table by any means, but would suffice. So requested investment, and then the explanation obviously wouldn't be inside the table itself. Oh, come on, quit messing with me, please. Put that in there too. Then you can explain why. So there'll be 6 separate parts, have all this information here with some explanation as to what was found, why, stuff like that. And everything is pretty much right there. So that's what I want you to do for this assignment. These should be matching. All this stuff should kind of match. So spend the time making this look good. We've got the answers. Next week, all we really have to do is come up with this final results table, which used to look one way, and it's going to look different now because we're going to be basically picking out some of the information from this table and that table and putting it together. It's going to be 2 separate tables. One is kind of showing a side-by-side comparison of each of the priorities, sorted by the priority itself, but there'll be some common things there. Yeah, and so that's what we'll be doing. So if you want to, you could start presenting this as a results table. I think that's a great idea, a results section. But the big thing is to really start working on the presentation of your tables and figures. The coloring of them, the form of them will help you, I think, too, along with the reader. So don't just be slapping it around like I have been. Present these things together, okay? And I may rewrite this so that happens. Yeah. All right, that's it.